What if I told you that the new Haas VF-25 could be the team's biggest technological leap forward in years? But it also hides a problem that could ruin its entire season. Before I explain, tell me in the comments, do you think Haas will finally have a car capable of consistently fighting in the midfield? Because what we'll see today could change the way we perceive this team. The Haas VF-25 represents a significant evolution from its predecessor, with key improvements designed to correct the weaknesses that limited its performance in the previous season. The team has worked on different areas of the car, focusing on aerodynamic development and structural adjustments that seek to improve both the stability and competitiveness of the car in the race. The design of the VF-25 maintains some characteristics of the previous model, but with modifications that reflect a more aggressive strategy in terms of aerodynamic efficiency. One of the most notable decisions is the retention of the Ferrari-supplied pushrod front suspension, rather than opting for a pull rod system as some teams on the grid have done. This approach prioritizes reliability and the knowledge accumulated on a proven system, rather than taking a risk with a new architecture that could bring additional complications in setup. The biggest change is to the aerodynamic design of the rear of the car. Last season, Haas suffered with an inconsistent car that failed to maintain a proper balance on different types of circuits. To solve this problem, the team has redesigned the rear wing configuration, seeking to generate greater downforce without sacrificing straight-line speed. This change will allow for improved performance in high-speed corners, one of the areas where the team struggled in 2024. Another key modification is to the side pods, where a larger undercut has been implemented, allowing the airflow to accelerate and increase aerodynamic efficiency. This solution has a direct impact on the stability of the car, especially in race conditions, where airflow management is essential to maintain performance throughout a full stint. The team has combined this design with a redistribution of the internal elements, suggesting that part of the cooling system has been relocated to optimize thermal management without affecting the balance of the car. Work in the wind tunnel and simulations has been key in the development of the VF-25. Davide Paganelli, the team's head of aerodynamics, has assured that if the performance on track is consistent with the data obtained in the development, Haas could experience a significant advance from the start of the season. The key is in the efficiency with which the car generates aerodynamic load without increasing drag, a balance that will make the difference on circuits where top speed is decisive. One of the team's main objectives has been to reduce the inconsistency that characterized the previous car. Last season, Haas suffered from ups and downs depending on the type of circuit, with a car that was competitive on certain layouts but losing performance in specific conditions. To correct this, the VF-25 has been designed with a more adaptable aerodynamic setup, which should allow it to maintain a more stable level of performance throughout the calendar. The car's behavior in high-temperature conditions has also been a focus point in development. Last season, Haas struggled in races held in hot climates, where the car's performance was affected by thermal management difficulties. For 2025, the team has worked on improving engine cooling and airflow efficiency in the side pod area, which should allow for better performance at circuits such as Bahrain and Singapore. The success of the VF-25 will depend on how well these improvements translate into real-world performance on track. If the car can maintain downforce and improve its balance on different layouts, Haas could establish itself as a strong contender in the midfield. However, the key will be reliability and the team's ability to quickly adjust the car to the demands of each race. During preseason testing in Bahrain, Haas encountered an unexpected problem that could compromise its performance in the 2025 season. A part of the VF-25's chassis came loose on track while Oliver Bearman was performing a race simulation run. This incident not only interrupted the test session, but also set off alarm bells within the team, as the same problem had previously occurred during the shakedown at Silverstone with Esteban Ocon. The detachment of a structural component in a Formula One car is not a simple inconvenience. It directly affects the integrity of the car and can put the driver's safety at risk. The most worrying thing about this incident is that it was repeated at different times and with different drivers, indicating that it was not an isolated failure but a design or assembly problem. Oliver Bearman attempted to downplay the issue in the post-test press conference, saying the team was already aware of the problem and it was something that could be fixed before the start of the season. However, the reality is that the loss of a structural component on track suggests a failure in the bodywork attachment, something that could be related to a loose bolt or a weakness in the materials used. Haas has been working on an aggressive aerodynamic evolution for the VF-25, and the bodywork changes may have resulted in a more delicate fit in certain areas of the car. Weight reduction and optimization of airflows require lighter materials and precise structural configurations. But if the integration of these new elements is not perfect, problems such as the one experienced by Bearman and Ocon in their respective test sessions may appear. The fact that the detachment occurred on two different circuits and in different conditions is an indication that the attachment of certain elements of the car may not be optimally secured. In a championship where reliability is key, such a failure could lead to major problems during a race, affecting the car's performance or even forcing a retirement. The team's ability to fix this problem before the start of the season will be decisive. If the problem persists at the first race in Melbourne, Haas could face a difficult start, with the need to make emergency modifications in the middle of the race. This would not only affect the VF-25's performance on track, but would also limit the car's development throughout the year, diverting resources towards correcting errors rather than improving performance. The technical team, led by Andrea De Zordo and Davide Paganelli, will have to thoroughly analyze the cause of the problem and ensure that it does not happen again under any circumstances. While they have been optimistic about the aerodynamic development of the car, any progress in terms of performance would be overshadowed if the car cannot complete a race without structural problems. In a sport where the slightest failure can make the difference between scoring points or being eliminated from the competition, Haas cannot afford to enter the season with doubts about the solidity of its car. Reliability has been a recurring problem for the team in previous years, and this new incident tests its ability to respond to unforeseen events. Pre-season is the time to detect and correct faults, but if these persist in the first races of the championship, the development of the VF-25 could be seriously affected, limiting the true potential of the car in the fight for the midfield. Haas enters the 2025 season with a combination of optimism and pressure. After a 2024 where they achieved their best performance in years, finishing 7th in the Constructors' Championship and fighting until the last race for 6th place, the team has the opportunity to consolidate its growth. However, Formula One does not stop, and staying competitive requires not only improvements to the car, but also consistency in development and efficient management of resources. The Haas VF-25 has been designed to address the key weaknesses that have affected the team's performance in 2024. The car's inconsistency across different circuit types was a key issue last year, with major differences in competitiveness depending on the characteristics of each track. For 2025, the team has been working on a more adaptable aerodynamic setup to maintain a stable level of performance on circuits with different downforce and top speed demands. If simulations and wind tunnel data are confirmed on track, Haas could take a step forward in the midfield. Another key aspect will be managing the car's reliability. Early tests have revealed some worrying structural issues, such as chassis elements coming loose during pre-season testing in Bahrain and Silverstone. Although the team has assured that these issues will be resolved before the start of the season, any failure in this area could compromise its aspirations from the first race in Melbourne. In such a tight championship, where every point is key, losing opportunities due to technical problems can mean the difference between fighting for 6th place in the Constructors' Championship or being relegated back to the bottom of the grid. The new driver lineup will also play a key role in the team's performance. Esteban Ocon, with years of experience in Formula One and a victory under his belt, brings knowledge in car development and race management. His ability to maximize car performance in tricky situations will be key, especially in strategic races where tire management and consistency make the difference. Oliver Bearman, on the other hand, is one of the biggest prospects in motorsport and has impressed with his performances in the junior categories and in his previous appearances in F1. However, the adaptation of a rookie to a full season is always a challenge, and his performance will depend on how quickly he can get used to the demands of the category and the working dynamics within the team. Another factor to consider is the evolution of Haas' direct rivals in the midfield. Teams such as Williams, Alpine, and RB have shown significant progress in their projects, and any improvement in these competitors can make the fight for points even tighter. Haas must not only focus on its own development, but also on understanding how its rivals are moving and reacting effectively to changes on the grid. The start of the season will be decisive in defining the direction of the team. If the improvements to the VF-25 translate into a more consistent and competitive car, Haas could establish itself as a solid contender in the midfield, with a real chance of surpassing its 2024 performance. However, if reliability issues persist or if the car fails to maintain a stable performance across different circuits, the team could once again find itself in a tough fight to stay in the top 10 at each race. The key to success for Haas in 2025 will be its ability to react to the challenges that arise throughout the season. A good start in the first races will allow them to establish a solid points base and build confidence within the team. On the other hand, any delay in resolving technical problems or difficulties in the adaptation of the drivers could compromise their aspirations and cause their progress in the category to stagnate. With a car that promises significant improvements, a renewed driver lineup and a technical team that has shown progress in its work methodology, Haas has the opportunity to demonstrate that its growth in 2024 was not just circumstantial, but the beginning of a more solid process of consolidation in Formula One. However, in a sport where the margins for error are minimal, every detail will count to determine whether this will be the year in which they finally manage to establish themselves as a competitive team on the grid, or whether they will continue to face the same challenges that have limited their progress in previous seasons. The Haas VF-25 represents one of the American team's biggest bets in recent years. With significant aerodynamic improvements, an optimized design to reduce the inconsistencies of the past, and a completely renewed lineup, the team has done everything possible to make a qualitative leap on the grid. However, the preseason has made it clear that not everything is resolved. The structural problem detected in the Bahrain and Silverstone tests raises a question mark over the reliability of the car. If the team manages to fix this fault before the start of the championship, they could be in a position to compete consistently in the midfield. But if these problems persist, the 2025 season could become another year of frustration. Formula One does not give second chances, and each race lost due to technical problems can mean the difference between fighting for 6th place in the Constructors' Championship or falling back to the bottom of the table. Oliver Bearman's performance will be another key factor in the team's performance. As a regular driver in his first full year, he will need to prove that he is up to the challenge and can make the difference in the fight against teams with greater experience and resources. His natural speed and ability to adapt will play a key role in the season, but a lack of experience in managing long races and changing conditions could be a hindrance. On the other hand, Esteban Ocon has the responsibility of leading the development of the car and providing stability in the team's strategy. The relationship between the two drivers and their ability to work together will be decisive for the success of the project. The competition in the midfield will be tighter than ever. Williams, Alpine and RB have all shown signs of progress, and it will not be easy to stay in the fight for points. If Haas wants to establish itself as a real contender, it needs to take every opportunity and minimize errors on track and in the development of the car. In this context, the team's strategy and ability to react throughout the season will define how far they can go in 2025. Haas is in a unique position. It has a promisingly improved car, a technical team that has shown progress in its working methodology, and a lineup that combines experience and youth. However, Formula One waits for no one, and any weakness will be exploited by its rivals. The start of the season in Melbourne will be the first big test for the VF-25 and will set the course of its campaign. The question is clear. Will Haas be able to capitalize on the potential of its new car and establish itself in the midfield, or will they once again face the same problems that have limited them in previous years? Leave me your opinion in the comments. Do you think Haas will finally manage to make a qualitative leap this year? If you want to closely follow everything that happens in the 2025 Formula One season and not miss any in-depth analysis, subscribe to the channel. There are many interesting stories to come, and this is just the beginning.